The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Admiral Vextar's tentacles writhed with barely contained frustration. The holographic display showed the impossible, 17 human vessels emerging from the void breach, engines blazing triumphantly as they approached the space station. "Explain this," Vexatar demanded, her voice a harsh rasp that made the assembled diplomats shift uncomfortably in their seats. Ambassador Chen Wei stepped forward, his weathered face bearing the slightest hint of a smile. "I believe the term you're looking for is mission accomplished, Admiral. 6 months earlier, the Council had presented humanity with what they believed was an elegant solution to the human problem. The bipedal mammals had proven too unpredictable, too reckless, too willing to charge into situations that any sensible species would avoid. Their very existence disrupted the careful balance the galaxy had maintained for millennia. The void breach had appeared in the Kepler 442 system, a tear in space-time that devoured everything that approached it. Entire fleets had vanished without a trace. The phenomenon grew larger each day, threatening to eventually consume the entire galaxy if left unchecked. "We need volunteers for a reconnaissance mission," Councillor Zephyros had announced, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "Someone must venture beyond the breach to determine its nature and find a way to stop it." The unspoken truth hung in the air like a toxic cloud. It was a suicide mission. No ship that had entered the breach had ever returned. "We'll do it," Chen had said immediately before any other human representative could speak. The alien delegates had exchanged glances, a mixture of relief and something that might have been guilt. Captain Sarah Martinez had volunteered to lead the mission within hours of the announcement. She was young for a starship commander, barely 35, with sharp eyes that seemed to see possibilities where others saw only obstacles. When asked why she wanted to lead what everyone knew was a death sentence, she'd simply shrugged. "Someone's got to do it, might as well be us." The human fleet that assembled was modest by galactic standards, 17 ships crewed by volunteers who understood they might never see Earth again. No families were left behind without their consent. Every crew member had signed on knowing the odds. What the galaxy hadn't understood was that humans had been preparing for impossible missions their entire evolutionary history. As Martinez's ship, the UES Defiance, approached the breach, her communications officer turned to her with wonder in his voice. "Captain, we're getting readings unlike anything in our databases." The breach wasn't just a tear in space-time, it was a doorway. Beyond it lay a pocket universe where the fundamental laws of physics operated differently. Energy flowed backward. Matter existed in states that shouldn't have been possible. And at the center of it all was something that defied description, a massive construct of crystallized time itself. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Elena Vasquez, the mission's chief physicist. "It's like looking at the universe's source code." But beauty wasn't their mission. As they ventured deeper, they discovered the truth. The breach was artificial. Some ancient civilization had created it as a laboratory, a place to experiment with the fundamental forces of reality. The experiments had gone wrong, and the breach had been abandoned, left to grow and eventually threaten everything. The construct at the center was a control mechanism. It had been waiting for millennia for someone to find it. "We can't shut it down from inside," Martinez realized as they studied the readings. "The moment we try, the pocket universe collapses and takes us with it." That was when Chief Engineer Tommy Okafor spoke up. "Then we don't shut it down from inside." He pulled up the schematics on the main display. "We reprogram it, make it reverse its function instead of just stopping it." It was insane. It was impossible. It required them to essentially rewrite the laws of physics in a universe where physics worked differently than their own. They had to work in shifts, with some crew members staying outside the pocket universe to maintain their sanity while others ventured in to make the modifications. For 3 months they labored. They lost 2 ships when experimental modifications went wrong. They watched space-time fold in ways that hurt to observe. Several crew members suffered breakdowns that required medical intervention, but humans had always been stubborn. When they finally activated the modified construct, reality hiccuped. The breach began to collapse, But instead of destroying everything it had consumed, it expelled it. Ships, debris, even signals that had been lost for centuries came pouring out as the pocket universe folded in on itself. The 17 ships that emerged were scarred and modified, their hulls bearing strange patterns from exposure to impossible physics. But they emerged victorious. Having not only survived the impossible but turned destruction into restoration. You were supposed to die, Vexitar said quietly, her tone unreadable. Martinez, now standing beside Ambassador Chen in the council chamber, met the Admiral's gaze steadily. With respect, Admiral, you were supposed to understand humans better, before giving us impossible missions. Chen stepped forward. The breach is sealed. The threat to the galaxy is ended, and as an added bonus, we've recovered approximately 40,000 ships and countless artifacts that were thought lost forever. I'd say that qualifies as mission success. The council chamber erupted in chaos, as representatives from dozens of species began arguing about what this meant for human integration into galactic society. But Chen watched Admiral Vexitar's face carefully and saw something he recognized. Respect. There will be other impossible missions, Vexitar said finally. Chen's smile widened. There will be other humans ready to turn them into parades. As the human delegation left the chamber, Martinez leaned toward her ambassador. Think they've learned their lesson about underestimating us? Chen chuckled. Sarah, I don't think the galaxy will ever stop underestimating humans. That's what makes us so effective. Behind them, the council continued to debate the implications of humanity's impossible success, unaware that in turning their suicide mission into a triumph, humans had just announced their arrival on the galactic stage in the most dramatic way possible. The age of humanity among the stars had truly begun.